Let's make a multiplication table from 1 to 10 and learn a few things about spreadsheets along the way. So I'm going to put a 1 here, and other spreadsheets, if you see a little block there, if you click on it and drag it, other spreadsheets you can drag this block, that cell when you highlight it, and then drag it over. It will duplicate what's in that cell into these other cells, and the fancy spreadsheets will actually guess that you want this to be 2, 3, 4, 5, and in some cases if you put A there and you copy this over like that, it will guess that, hey, there's an A there, I'm going to put a B here. But Google Spreadsheets at this time does not do that, but it gives us an opportunity to learn how to do formulas. I'm going to double click here to resize that cell just for the fun of it. I'm going to highlight the whole spreadsheet and resize the cell. See how that happens? It's kind of cool. So we want a 2 to be here and a 3 and a 4, and we're lazy. So if you press equal to begin a formula and you say, well, I want this cell to have this cell plus 1, we're going to have a 2 there. Rocket science. So notice how when I click the cell, I get the little formula up here. So this cell is going to have whatever's in B1 plus 1. And if I double click on that, it kind of highlights everything that this formula is referring to. So one cool thing is now it will do this, where if I copy this, if I put the cursor by that little block in the lower right corner, I copy it over a couple of spaces, it's smart enough, shall we say, to adjust the formula automatically for us. So when I go there, you notice it changes the B to a C when it copied that formula over to here, and also when it copied it to here, it changed it to a D for us, so we could go all the way over as far as we want, and that formula kind of works out. And if you double click on it, you can see that each time it's just referring to the cell to the left of it. And this is where an outline would come in handy if I wanted to be organized with my thoughts and get this thing done and not have it drone on forever. But we just want ours to go to 10. So I'm going to delete those and go over here, put a 1 there, start a formula, have it say take whatever's there, plus 1, and of course it didn't evaluate. It should evaluate. There we go. And now this, I don't know what they call the feature, but it's going to copy it for us down. It's going to modify, meaning it, the spreadsheet, people who wrote it, are making some assumptions about what we're doing here, and it's saying, hey, whenever they do this and they copy in this direction, we're going to change the reference automatically. See how it changed the formula for us each time. If I double click, you can see the formula, or you can watch the formula up here as you click down. So now we've got some idea of how to do a formula, a simple formula, and leverage that feature of many spreadsheets where when you copy a cell with a formula, in this case towards the right, it has this interesting effect, or this handy effect, of changing that cell reference over by 1 if we're copying in that direction. Man, some people are, I'm sure, get this right away, and having me talk over and over about it is kind of boring. But anyway, so that's simple, possibly. Put a 1 there, we have a formula there that refers to that cell and adds 1 here, and we have this feature that copies the formula over and sort of edits it along the way for us. And there you have that. Now we want to make a more complicated formula, I suppose, and have it take whatever is here, and then asterisk is for multiplication, and multiply what's in those two cells and put the result there. And if we copy it over, we're like, what is going on? Well, it's doing just exactly what it did up here. And if we double click, you can see it's doing what we expect there. And then here, when we double click, it's just sort of shifting everything over. But we don't really want that. If I go over here, it's just following along. So we need some way to stop it. Because we want, like at this point, we want this to stay here, not move over. I mean, even though the answer right at that point is correct, it's not really multiplying what we think it should be. And here, the answer is not correct and gets worse. So we got to use a feature. I guess we'll call it a sticky feature, because it uses the $sign, which kind of looks like an S. And we're going to tell our original formula here, make the A sticky, meaning don't mess with it. When I copy this formula to the right, don't mess with A. Keep it stuck on A. So let's try that. So A is going to be stuck, but the other things can change. So let's drag a copy of that over. Boom. Now we're cooking. So you see the A is stuck there. And the only thing changing is that other one. And it's doing it as we expect. If I double click, the A is stuck. And the other one is allowed to change. Now, what if you can do this, I'm going to do click on that just once, and then I'm going to hold the shift key down and left click over here to highlight that whole range, and then copy this down. Let's see what happens. Shall we go all the way? So we got something crazy going on there. I'm going to highlight the whole sheet, double click there. So we got a problem. Let's get rid of that part and just focus in on this, what's going on. So if we double click, so this is another sticky situation. We want that to stick, and so we want it to stick on before we wanted to stick on column A, now we want it to stick, need to have needs to always stay on this, on column, no, this is row. So we need to make our formula sticky in another way so that that number there doesn't become a 2, it sticks on 1 to being a 1, just like we put the A, we put the sticky thing in front of the A, we're going to need to put the sticky thing in front of the 1 so this never becomes a 2. See that 2 for all these should stay a 1. It should not become a 2. So we need to go back to our original formula there and make it sticky. The 1 needs to be sticky and always stay always stay a 1. So the A is sticky, we're going across, and the 1, which is the reference to the row there. So let's see if it works. Because notice we haven't copied it over here. We don't have the sticky stuff in here, but it shouldn't have changed anything because it's a 1, it's a 1, it's a 1, it's a 1. So it's not going to change anything here. So let's copy that over. Should have no effect other than it. I want the sticky thing. Where did the sticky thing go? Copy that over. Maybe I didn't drag it all the way over. Okay, so everybody's got the sticky A and the sticky, which is a column reference. This column. And then everybody should have, oh, that's the top row. Everybody should have the row stuck on 1. And then, so now, if I click on that, shift click over there, and drag down, it looks right. So, you know, you could have done it manually by updating the formula for each row and copying it over, but this way, it kind of, if you mess with it, you can just come up with one formula that would copy correctly both in the horizontal direction with the sticky A, because we want that to stay there, and the 2, the A is the column reference, and the 2 is the row reference. In this case, when we copy downward, is allowed to change. It's not got a sticky thing in front of it. You can see that change that whole time. And then in the thing that we're copying in this direction, that's the A is stuck, right? We're still in the same column. I mean, we're still in the same row as we move across. And we're just sticking the 1 so that if we were to copy this downward, it all works out. So here, let me highlight everything. Train's going by. I'm going to highlight this and do some formatting. Let's center that. Let's make it bold. Let's fill it with black and make the text white. And we can expand. Oop, I gotta select the whole thing. Expand it. And it's a cool thing. If you dip your paintbrush in something that has some formatting you like, and then you click that, and then you brush over that. Notice it did the coloring and the centering bit, and then in this case we could just highlight everything in there and choose center. That's what we want to do. And maybe we want to make it bigger, like for the visually challenged. there. So anyway, it's a little bit about spreadsheets and formulas. From simple, a value, to a simple formula referring to like a cell, and then you can double click there, it highlights, gives you an idea what the cell is, or what the formula is doing in the cell. Double click. That's kind of cool. So now when you double click on any one of these, it knows how the cell references highlight. It gives you, kind of reinforces that idea of the A. It's a sticky A, so that's why it's stuck in this column. But the row value there was allowed to range. When we did the copy, we copied this cell downward, the formula. And yeah, so just kind of goof around, click, 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 and you can kind of get a sense for how all that the sticky cell references. Who knows what they actually call them? Google it, man. Figure it out.